Descartes distinguishes the ego cogito as res cogitans from the res corporea. From then on, this distinction, ontologically, defines the distinction of nature and spirit. Although this opposition between nature and spirit is formulated ontically in many variations of content, the unclarity of its ontological fundamentals, and even of the poles of this opposition itself, have their proximate roots in Descartes' distinction. In what kind of understanding of being did he determine the being of these beings? The term for the being of beings in themselves is substantia. This expression sometimes means the being of beings as substance, substantiality, sometimes beings themselves, a particular substance. This ambiguity of substantia, already inherent in the ancient concept of six fati, is not accidental. The ontological determination of the res corporea requires the explication of substance, that is, of the substantiality of these beings as particular substances. What constitutes the true being in itself of the res corporea? How is a substance as such, that is, its substantiality, to be understood? Et quidem ex qualibet attributo substantia cognoscitur, sed unitamen est cuius substantiae principio proprietas, qui ipsius naturam essentiam constituit, et ad quam alii omnes referuntur. Three substances are accessible through their attributes, and every substance has an eminent property in terms of which the essence of the substantiality of a definite substance can be determined. What is this property with regard to the res corporea? Nemp extensio in longum, latum et profundum, substantiae corpori naturam constituit. For extension in terms of length, breadth, and depth constitutes the real being of the corporeal substance that we call world. What gives the extensio this distinction? Nam omni aliud quod corpori tribui potest. Extensionum extension is the constitution of being of the beings under discussion, a constitution which must already be, before other determinations of being, in order for the latter to be able to be what they are. Extension must primarily be attributed to the corporeal thing. Accordingly, the proof for the extension and the substantiality of the world, characterized by that extension, is accomplished by showing how all other properties of this substance, above all divisio, figura, modus, can only be conceived as modes of extensio, and that extensio, conversely, remains intelligible sine figura vel mod. Thus a corporeal being can maintain its total extension, and yet change the distribution of the extension in many ways and in various dimensions, and still present itself as one and the same thing in manifold shapes. Ac unum et idem corpus, retinendo suum indum quantitatem, pluribus diversus modis potest extendi, nunc silus et magi secundum longitudinem, minus secundum latitudinem vel profunditatem, ac paulo posti contra magi secundum latitudinem, et minus secundum gestalt is a mode of extensio, and motion as well, for modus is comprehended only si de nullo nisi locali cogitmus, ac de Roman 6, aqua excidetur non inquirem. If motion is an existent property of res corporea, then it must be understood in terms of the being of this being itself, in terms of extensio, that is, as mere change of location in order to be experienced in its being. Something like force adds nothing to the determination of the being of this being. Properties such as durity's hardness, pondus weight, color can be removed from matter, yet matter remains what it is. These properties do not constitute its true being, and insofar as they are, they turn out to be modes of extensio. Descartes attempts to show this in detail with regard to hardness. Nam, quantum ad duritem, nihil alia de las sensus nobis indicat, quam parts durorum corporum resister modui manuum nostrorum, cum in alas incurrent. Si enim, quodiusunc manus nostri versus aliquem partum moventur, corpora oinia ibi existentia recederent idem celeritate qua ali excedent, nullem unquam duritem sentirmus. Ni ullo modo potest intelligi, corpora qui sic recederent, id circo naturam corporis essia misera, nec proin ipsa in durity consistit. 8. Hardness is experienced by touch. What does the sense of touch tell us about hardness? The parts of the hard thing resist the motion of the hands, for instance in wanting to push something away. But if the hard bodies, those that do not give way, change their location with the same speed as the hand, approaching the bodies, nothing would ever be touched. Hardness would not be experienced, and thus would never be. But it is in no way comprehensible that bodies that give way with such velocity should thus forfeit any of their corporeal being. If they were to retain this even under a change of velocity which makes it impossible for anything like hardness to be, then hardness does not belong to the being of these beings either. Idem ration ostendi potest et pondus et colorum et alias omnes ius modi qualitates, qui in materia corporea sentienter, ex e tolli passi, ipsa integra remanent unde sequitur, a nulla exilis ius sc. Extensionis naturam dependir. 9. Thus, what constitutes the being of the res corporea is extensio, the omnimodo divisibile figurable et mobile. What can change in every kind of divisibility, shape, and motion, the capax mutationum. What persists throughout all these changes, remanent. In a corporeal being, what is capable of such a remaining constant is what is genuinely that being. Indeed, it is this in such a way that it characterizes the substantiality of this substance.